Hello, Uganda and beyond. This is UBC Lunchtime News with me, Brian Tumwine Biaruhanga. And to our first story. The Uganda Virus Research Institute, in collaboration with the Medical Council and the London School of Hygiene and the Tropical Medicine, has launched the Ecology and Evaluation of Infectious Disease project. This initiative aims to understand and prevent emerging tick-borne viral diseases, particularly those transmitted from animals to humans. The 5-year study, launched by Dr. Charles Olaro, Director of Health Services at the Ministry of Health, will focus on the group of viruses commonly known as noroviruses, which include serious threats such as the Congo hemographic fever virus, a deadly disease in humans. We have the details.
Thank you very much. There is a high diversity of ticks, like I said before. On the African continent, there are about 37 bacterial species. Bacterial species of tick-borne diseases. There are 27 parasite species and 14 virus species. We need to find out how many of these actually occur in Uganda. Where are they in Uganda? There are so many. Do we have all of them, or don't we have all of them? These are significant yet often neglected public health challenges. They demand our urgent attention and comprehensive research to be carried on this.
So we're here today to launch a very important project that is going to look at how these, first of all, looking at how these viruses are transmitted. One of the thinking is that probably when we get some of these viruses in animals and humans, some of them are helping us to protect ourselves against other viruses. We don't know. There will be experiments that will be done, transmission experiments, to see what, if you're infected with one virus, not in humans, but animal experiments, whether they can lead to immune responses that can protect you against other viruses. We're going to look at viruses that are transmitted, other viruses that are transmitted by the ticks, and also eventually interventions.
Crimean Congo is one of the hemorrhagic fevers which has been very rampantly available, and most times we would want to understand the extent of its existence in the country, but also would want to see the conditions where it prevails most, and then we kind of look at that, probably what is that lacking in other places where it is not available. So it also helps to be able to not only to be able to do early detection, but also prepare. For preparedness as a country, we need to be able to be prepared. As I did speak, that as we were responding to the Ebola Sudan virus outbreak, we also recorded a case of Crimean Congo in Chegegwa, which was managed successfully in Fort Foto Regional Referral Hospitals. So these outbreaks have been frequent, and particularly looking at the cattle corridor, the areas of the cattle corridor. So the study will be able to tell us with the magnitude, but also look at how we can be able to deploy our resources to be able to manage it.
You're good? I'm good. For that report. Now, to our next story, officials from UNICEF, UNFPA, and UN Women, together with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, have commended the Sauti 116 National Child Helpline for its vital role in promoting child protection, a key pillar in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The recognition was made during a field visit to the Sauti 116 facility, one of the highlights of the 11th Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. Mary Namokose has the details.
The delegation, led by Minister of State for Gender in charge of Youth, Dr. Balam Barugahara, toured key sections of the center, including the call center, case management system, and police forensics evidence van.
And then they air out their command signals.
The helpline receives an average of 1,500 calls daily, mostly related to violence against children and gender-based issues.
We get about 1,500 calls, and in a year we shall have about 30,000 calls. Cases have been there, but what this indicates is that we are creating a lot of awareness and people are getting informed and they are defending their rights. So it just shows you the trust in the helpline system, that people are able to call, report, and we work with the different actors. You have seen police, we have district probation officers, we have community development officers, we have partners that we're working with in the communities, NGOs, civil societies, the churches, the cultural institutions, depending on the issue.
Dr. Barugahara expressed concern over the rising cases of child abuse in northern Uganda, particularly in Karamoja. He announced that government plans to establish a child rehabilitation home in the region to provide shelter and care for affected children.
Because you can't say you are jailing a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year that he didn't matter. He didn't know what he was doing. Probably was playing. So we are trying to do such. We are setting up a new center now in Karamoja, where we shall have extra room to have a similar facility like this, funded by the government of Uganda 100%. But we don't take your funding lightly, and we appreciate, because you set the pace.
In collaboration with development partners, the Police Forensics Department has strengthened its capacity to collect and analyze evidence more efficiently, aiding in timely case resolutions.
So we can combat the victims here, and also we combat the suspects here. Then we have a step 4 for the vaginal swab, rectal swab. Then we also have for the pulled hairs. The pulled hairs are important. Since we have collected hairs, we have to pull out and we match. This hair we pull the known sample, so we match it to the unknown, and you can get the victims. So we are very grateful for this, as it helps us and guides us on what is needed in solving these cases.
Amidst a reduction in donor funding, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is considering integrating Sauti 116 helpline staff into the mainstream ministry structure to ensure sustainability.
Currently, the Ministry of Gender, where the helpline is anchored, is developing a new strategic plan, which will encompass a sustainability plan, and where we're looking at beyond the donors. We're looking at integrating the staff. Once government has finalized the rationalization that is ongoing, we'll be able to see how to scale this staff into the main service, beginning gradually until the end of that strategic plan. We hope all the staff will be now being catered for by government, and the donors can support the different interventions that we shall be working on.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
Thank you, Mary, for that report. Now to our next story. Currently, women make up to 10% of the construction workforce, a concerning statistic that highlights the need to close the gender gap and empower more women and young girls to succeed in the industry. This was emphasized by Kiara Binta Nkuraga, president of the Uganda National Association of Builders and Engineering Contractors, during a media address ahead of the Women in Construction Symposium set for the 11th April 2025 at Sheraton Hotel in Kampala. We have the details.
Held on the theme Leveling the Ground to upscale effective participation of women in construction and infrastructure development, the symposium aims to provide a platform for women in the sector and establish a central database to guide and support them.
We want to launch the Women in Construction Uganda chapter, under which we shall create a platform for support, mentorship, advocacy for women professionals and entrepreneurs in the construction sector, under which also we shall have a one-stop center for data collection that relates to women in construction, because right now if you just did a simple search or research, you will find that there are huge gaps, data gaps that relate to statistics of women in construction in Uganda. You will probably not find anything useful, you will not find anything recent.
Over the years, women in construction have faced challenges, including extended working hours that keep them away from their families, contributing to difficulties in managing family responsibilities, among others.
Women in construction suffer many of the similar issues that women in other spaces and other professions suffer: discrimination, pay disparity, However, there are some issues that are purely unique to women in construction. And we say that by this platform, we shall be addressing some of these challenges that women in construction face. Some of them, for instance, are long hours away from their families, even days and months away from their families, depending on the projects that they are working on. This, of course, affects the ability for them to raise their homes, their families, to have stable families, to have that time to be able to say, as a woman, I'm raising my family.
In response, Housing Finance Bank has pledged support for women in underrepresented sectors like construction, aiming to foster inclusive financial and professional opportunities.
Now, we have solutions for women individually, but we also have solutions for women in groups. So the long-term goal here is to make sure they're all banked, they're all united, and as we all say, together we can go so far. So we want to encourage collaborations such as these, and as a bank whose focus is to finance a sustainable future for all, we want to be here holding hands so that we have growth in the next 1 to 15 years ahead of us.
Winnie Ainebabas Katwire and Crispus Arenitwe for UBC.
Thank you, Winnie, for that report. Now, government has released shillings 19.79 trillion for the last quarter of the financial year 2024-2025, representing 25.64% of the revised budget. This cumulative release amounts to shillings 76.422 trillion against the revised budget of 77.196 trillion, indicating a 99 performance. Mark Wadulo has the rest of the story.
State Minister for Finance and Permanent Secretary to the Treasury has announced the disbursement of expenditure releases for the last quarter of the financial year, amounting to 19.79 trillion shillings.
8.9 trillion is for wage, non-wage, and development projects. Then 2.677 trillion is external financing, mainly for projects. 8.126 trillion is to cater for treasury operations, including debt and all those other obligations of the state. And 83.85 billion shillings is for the local revenue.
The statutory obligations prioritized include wages and salaries for public servants at 1.993 trillion shillings, 288.75 billion shillings for pension and gratuity, 172.64 billion shillings for Parliament. The judiciary gets 58.23 billion shillings. Auditor General's Office is getting 17.46 billion shillings. The National Planning Authority, 11.17 billion shillings, and the Electoral Commission, 94.22 billion shillings to cater for necessary preparations as the election year closes in. Agro-industrialization, tourism, minerals, science and technology continue to take center stage in realizing the tenfold growth strategy, along with their enablers like security, infrastructure, and human capital development.
First of all, the budget for this financial year was designed to support implementation of the tenfold growth strategy. As you have seen, emphasis on the release of money is on the ATMs as well as the enablers. As government, our main objective is to promote technical efficiency by ensuring that all ministries, departments, agencies, as well as local governments deliver better services to Ugandans. But as they do this, they do it at the lowest cost possible, and we put more emphasis on growth drivers and the enablers.
Uganda's GDP grew by 6.7% in the first quarter and 5.3% in the second quarter of the current financial year 2024-2025.
One of the things we have realized, and I think we have said it before, we are witnessing the weakening oversight function at the Ministry of Finance in guiding MDAs to set their priorities right. And I think this is why we have so many supplementary budgets. But as you recently noticed in the social media, people have started comparing a vote on the medical expenses vis-a-vis a vote on a regional hospital. They could have got it wrong, but I think the message is very clear that are we budgeting for the right priorities?
Actually, World Bank report on Uganda, it shows that actually Uganda is not investing substantively in early child development. Early child development helps in terms of health, in terms of feeding, in terms of learning, to produce a population that will be healthy, productive, and easy to scale and productive. So I think there is underfinancing, but I know you put money in the Ministry of Gender, but I think we need to deliberately raise children that are healthy, that can be productive and innovative.
Wadulo Arnold Mark, UBC News in Kampala.
Thank you, Mark, for that report. Now, to our next story. Over 8 farmer groups in Tapak Sub-County, Moroto and Loro Sub-County in Amudat District have received agricultural inputs through UNDP cross-border project. The one-year cross-border project targets increasing production, access to finance, infrastructure development, and strengthening social cohesion. The inception meeting was handed over by the program coordinator at UNDP Karamoja Resilience Program, Dr. Gemichis Goodina in Loro Sub-County. We have the details.
UNDP is implementing a one-year cross-border project in Moroto and Amudat districts of Karamoja sub-region.
We have West Pokot side, we have also targeted Alale in the Konyao. These are adjacent areas to each other because of the virtue of being a cross-border project. That is why we have selected to harness the potential for cross-border dynamics and opportunities for trade.
Under this project, farmers are told better agronomic practices, post-harvest handling, market linkages, and value addition.
Then we create access to finance also with the second pillar, and to boost agriculture again.
Amudat Resident District Commissioner Dennis Okori and District Chairperson Joseph Lobot say the project will increase production and market linkages.
Into apiary, beef farming. They have brought equipment such as the storage equipment, warmers, honey processing equipment, suits, packaging material, and this is going to enable our farmers have a competition at the market level. The challenge that we have had majorly in Loro, in Amudat, is the instance where people produce food and sell it as it comes out. This area is a food basket for Amudat.
It is important so that these farmers can be supported to keep their produce for some time until when the prices go high.
Relatedly, Lobot asked development partners to always do needs assessment before implementing projects in Karamoja. Farmers appreciated the UNDP initiative since they have been selling produce at low prices due to limited knowledge on value addition.
To receive the seeds of maize because it will assist me to earn more. Because for us we were planting maize of stores, but
they have been selling honey in a crude form, ending up only utilizing the liquid honey. The wax is not sold, the propolis is not extracted, and many other components of the honey.
The cross-border project is implemented in Tapak Sub-County in Moroto and Loro Sub-County in Amudat districts.
Viewers, the UBC Lunchtime News takes a short commercial break. Don't touch your remote.
Kama nemo pocket tambula
about the street issues are my target.
We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable.
I'm in a plantation, but on a global mission. Internet ambition, full condition.
We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable.
Oro cash is gone, netaga yo karoni, niga mukafoni, money in the zone.
We are what? Unstoppable. We are what? Unstoppable. We are good with MTN. We are what? Unstoppable.
With you and MTN together, our ambition is unstoppable.
We are what? Unstoppable.
Mikulu Business Expo kumi pirabiri mwetano ine komyewo wakati w'ennaku mwezi mwenda paka 11 Mei Lugugu Uma Showgrounds event service providers n'aba business endala zonna mwandibadde mweyuna Mikulu Business Expo kumi pirabiri mwetano emidaala giri ku mitwalo 6 eno bronze emitwalo 8 ku silver ate gold yakakadde kalamba kogata platinum yakamu kitundu okuyingira Mikulu Business Expo kumi pirabiri mwetano kwa 15 zokka kati wosasula omudaala oba sasulide ekifo tenti emeza entebe 2 kogata amasanyalaze ne security okumanya ebisingawo kuba 0701 mukaga 20 292 oba 0776 mukaga 20 292 bitendwa mu Sente Photogenics Limited, Lean Events, Crane Performers, Chabasa Pharma, BBS Telefina, UBC, Rosie Roots, City Bridals, Joyce Sonko Textiles, Channel Ladies Choice, Njuvu Estates, Junico Rio Deco, Victory Travel Center, Tender Gardens, Eco Farm Pharmacy, Mikolo Magazine, ne Pepsi.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Buza Commissioner, enhancing tax education and bringing it closer to the taxpayers. Many Ugandans have questions about the taxes they pay to URA.
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear Chitenge at 10,000. And when we are selling Chitenge, we sell it at 17. So we don't know whether we are working or not.
Understanding your tax obligations can help you grow your business and avoid unnecessary losses. Now, you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
The Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs and the Uganda National Rescue Front will hold a Thanksgiving event and revival of the West Nile Peace Festival. The Peace Day celebrations will be held in Yumbe District, West Nile Sub-Region on the 11th and 12th of April 2025 under the theme Consolidating 23 Years of Peace and Security in West Nile Region for Socio-Economic Transformation. This important event will be live on UBC TV on the 12th of April 2025 and the guest of honor will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda.
Welcome back from that break. And now UBC Lunchtime News continues with business. The 2025 Energy Access Investment Forum focuses on increasing funding for the energy sector and strengthening and strengthening the public-private partnerships. The three-day event in Kampala, attracting at least 600 participants, is organized by the Alliance for Rural Electrification and co-hosted by the European Union through its Global Gateway initiative with support from GATE. Crispus Arinitwe was at Speak Resort Munyonyo and has the details.
Electricity powers nearly every aspect of modern life, from household appliances and lighting to transportation, communication and industrial processes. The 10th edition of Energy Access Investment Forum is a leading annual event for the renewable electrification sector. It fosters business and investor partnerships aimed at ensuring sustainable electricity access, decarbonization, economic growth, and combating climate change, among others.
It's possibly the largest, or definitely one of the largest, energy access conferences that have been organized in Kampala to date. And so we are very happy to be under the patronage of the ministry to really bring big, small, medium European as well as African companies together, because this is very important for ARV, is this win-win relationship, right? Winning between public sector and private sector. We each have our prerogative and recommendation.
A key focus of the discussion is to mobilize significant financing for the energy sector and empowering public-private partnerships to enhance last-mile electricity access and connectivity.
Government is committing even financing, but the financing is not adequate and government cannot do it all. The technologies are there, but those technologies cost money. So coming together, development partners, the private sector, each one of these segments have got their strength. While government is good at policies and so on, the private sector is good in bringing the technologies and also delivering the services.
The Minister of State for Energy, Okasai Opolot, emphasized that Uganda is committed to expanding both off-grid and on-grid electricity connections.
And we are taking the two concurrently. If you have off-grid, a solar, that's electricity. When you are on-grid, that's electricity. So we have actually moved on-grid from 19% to about 22% now. So if we follow this trend, by 2030, I'm comfortable which you can achieve to have electricity to every household, if we recognize off-grid as being one form of electricity. It's clean energy.
The Energy Access Investment Forum 2025 is part of a European program designed to mobilize investments in renewable energy. The forum in Kampala is held under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development of Uganda.
But at the same time, to get economic growth, you need electrification. So it's a bit of a catch-22, and it's all about then priorities and, let's say, another option, loans, which one has to be a bit careful about, obviously.
For the last mile citizen, every bulb lit is more than just electricity. It's the spark of hope, opportunity and inclusion. Crispus Arinitwe, UBC News.
In our international news, South Sudan has reversed its decision to deny entry to a foreign national after the United States revoked visas for all the South Sudanese citizens. Officials announced Tuesday that Congolese national Mokula Kintu will now be permitted into the country. The reversal comes amidst diplomatic tensions with South Sudan's Foreign Affairs Ministry, emphasizing the move as a step towards maintaining friendly relations with Washington. The initial refusal had sparked U.S. action, prompting swift negotiations. We have the details.
national deported by the United States, whose deportation sparked Washington to revoke all visas with South Sudanese citizens. South Sudan, in a statement shared on social media, said it would now allow the DR Congo citizen to enter after previously denying him entry. Now this to maintain friendly relations between the countries. Earlier on Monday, South Sudan criticized Washington for unfairly revoking all visas for its citizens. This was after the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, accused Juba of failing to accept the return of its citizens deported from the United States. South Sudan's foreign ministry also said that the DR Congo deportee, who was denied entry last Friday, had been returned to the U.S. with all supporting evidence.
The government deeply regrets that despite this history of collaboration and partnership, South Sudan now faces a broad revocation of visas based on an isolated incident involving misrepresentation by an individual who is not a South Sudanese national. Comprehensive verification processes confirm that this individual is a national of the Democratic Republic of Congo named Makula Kintu. In accordance with our immigration protocols, he was not admitted and was subsequently returned to the sending country for further processing.
Meanwhile, Juba has also called on Washington to engage in constructive dialogue to resolve the dispute. As a gesture of goodwill, South Sudan has instructed its embassy in the U.S. to issue emergency travel documents for 21 of the 23 individuals identified by the U.S. officials for repatriation. This comes as Washington's decision to curb all visas has left many South Sudanese in shock, particularly those with family members in the United States.
This statement, all of us were shocked because many of South Sudanese, they have their families in America. Also, some of them, they are here in South Sudan. So they used to go and come back. So if there's an issue like this, I think that is going to affect many people in South Sudan.
South Sudanese in the U.S. were granted Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, under the Obama administration in 2011 on the grounds that the country was unsafe because of fighting that started after it declared independence from Sudan. The designation was extended by the Biden administration.
Lastly, in our sports, Declan Rice stunned Real Madrid with 2 brilliant free kicks, his first ever in his career, helping Arsenal take a commanding 3-0 lead in their Champions League quarter-final. Arsenal have not reached the semi-finals of the Champions League since 2008-2009 season, but this result has given them a significant chance of progressing to the last 4. We have the highlights. That's all we had for you in sports. And now, viewers, thank you very much for being part of UBC Lunchtime News. We are going into other programs, and I am Brian Tumwine Biarhanga, and God bless Uganda.